Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Beyond the Beret. All right, today I got another guest for you guys. He's gonna share his story with you in hopes of hopefully inspiring you, the next generation. All right.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate your time. My name is Beret Chronicles. I was an 18 Echo in first group for 9 years, and then I was an instructor at SWICK for a couple years, and I recently retired out of the military.
Gotcha. So
yeah.
So how many years total would you say you've done?
So I had just under 12 years total.
12 years?
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Now, were you fully planning on doing 20?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Originally, yeah.
All right.
What
the fuck happened there?
Yeah, so I hurt my back.
Gotcha.
And just, it got worse over the years. And then it got to the point where it was hard for me to keep up anymore, you know?
Gotcha.
So eventually I just was like, yeah, I can't do it anymore. So
yeah, I think a lot of folks miss, they don't recognize that's a hazard that comes with a job, right? Like, you don't think that you're going to end up fucking yourself up beyond the point that you can't continue service. But truth of the matter is, like, it does happen.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? And once it does, you just got to eat that shit sandwich and then fucking make the best out of it.
Yeah.
Because I medically retired at 20, you know what I mean, with the rotator cuff was fucked up, torn meniscus to the point where I'm like, yeah, it's time to fucking hang that shit up. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on. Again,
Thanks for having me.
We'll start with your story, man, and then we'll just chronicle everything, and then hopefully somebody watching this will get something out of it. So let's start at the very beginning, man. Like, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up in Michigan. I always wanted to be a Navy SEAL when I was a kid.
God damn it, get out. Like you said, no, I'm just playing.
And, you know, I always wanted to serve in the military.
Yeah.
I grew up in a Christian household. I would say it was pretty strict. You know, I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things that my friends were doing or wanted to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I grew up in Michigan, and I wanted to do something different. So my grandfather, he served in the Korean War. He told me not to join the military, but I did anyways. So
now, why do you think that is? That he told you not to serve? Was it just
it was his experience? So he was drafted, obviously, and I think it's because he didn't want me to be exposed to the things that he was exposed to, because I know he lost a lot of his buddies over there, and then you and I both know, you know, so, but yeah, I don't think he wanted me to see that. He wanted me to stay pure in heart, you know?
Yeah.
So I told my dad that I wanted to join the Army. I think it was like my senior year of high school, and he was like, all right, well, you got to go to college first.
Yeah.
So I went to college, I graduated, and I was actually trying to be a PJ.
Yeah.
So I went to the Air Force recruiter, and the dude kept fucking beating around the bush.
Yeah.
So eventually I was just like, all right, whatever, fuck you. Went across the hall, I talked to the Army recruiter, and I was like, I want to be a Green Beret. So, yeah, that's all she wrote. So then I joined as an X-ray.
Yeah. Now, did you do any additional research leading to, because you knew about the PJs, you knew about the SEALs, you knew about, so what gravitated you towards special operation as a whole? Why not just go in and do, because what'd you go to college for?
So I went to college to be a dietitian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why not go in and be one of those master trainers or some other job that correlates with that in the military? Why special operations?
Because I wanted to challenge myself.
Okay.
I also kind of felt like that I was always the underdog, you know. I don't think a lot of people believed in me. And from where I am from then to now, like, bro, I was 6'2", 140 pounds wet.
Yeah.
You know, so like the biggest thing for me is I wanted to like prove to myself that I could do it.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to do some good shit, you know.
Yeah. And that's good, because a lot of guys that reach out to me, you know, through Instagram or email, like they're so worried about size, and they think they have to be, you know, Brock Lesnar or some ridiculous dude. I'm like, dude, you just have to have the right heart. Like, you got to have the mental toughness, and you have to have the heart. And you should be fine.
Yeah, size doesn't matter for a lot of things in life, but you know, especially in this realm, you know, you just got to be able to ruck and fucking run and pull your own weight. You'll be fine. But so I had a friend that I went to college with that joined the Army as an 18 X-ray. So like we weren't very close, but I knew of him. I wouldn't call him a friend. He was an acquaintance. Yeah. I knew of him. I reached out to him, and he started telling me all about the program and everything. So yeah, I joined the Army as an 18 X-ray in 2011.
Okay.
Graduated the key course in 2013 in the fall time frame.
Gotcha. And
then from there, I went to Okinawa.
Gotcha.
The weird part about that is so I got married right before I went to Okinawa, and my wife's her daughter, she was an EFMP child, so she had a trait. And you know, being an X-ray, like I didn't know shit about how the Army like works and everything. Yeah. So I was like, oh, we're gonna get married, and you can just come over there with me. No, it didn't work like that.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting a compassionate reassignment to First Group Maine.
Mm-hmm. That's Fort Lewis, right?
Yep, at Fort Lewis, and I was there from 2014 to 2021.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
let's now we'll back up a little bit and just kind of digest everything that brought you to the point where you're at right now. Mm-hmm. So now you signed up out of Boston, right? Right?
Out of Lansing, Michigan.
Out of Michigan. Yep. And you signed up in 2011, then you hit basic training.
Yep.
How was that for you? Was that like a culture shock where did you know what to expect in basic? Did you have a hard time? Like, how did that go for you?
Yeah, that was a huge culture shock.
Yeah.
Because again, you know, the only person that served in the military was my grandfather, and he never really talked about it. And it was a lot different than I thought it was going to be. I mean, my battle buddy, like the first day we were there, like he was on a suicide watch, and I was just like, "What is going on here, man?"
Did he not want to be there? Like, what the fuck?
I guess not. Just weird shit, like just weird fucking people I wasn't ever exposed to.
Yeah.
So it was a huge culture shock.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I was like, man, fuck this. What am I doing? Like I the first month or so I was there, I was just like, didn't want to be there. But after I realized that, you know, I grabbed my balls and I was like, well, I have a dream and a goal and I need to see it through. So I stayed, and obviously it worked out. So,
because basic training was Fort Benning.
Yep.
Now, was it hot, cold? Like,
yeah. So
where'd you go?
We were at Sand Hill in Fort Benning.
Okay.
I shipped to basic on July 19, 2011.
I got you.
So it was hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got done with basic, then you went on to AIT. So from when you started basic and then to the point where you graduated, did anything change in you as far as, you know what, like, this sucked, but I went through it? That gave you like that little bump of confidence to keep pushing forward?
Yeah, and like I always dealt with confidence issues, you know, but making it past that, it definitely gave me a boost in my confidence for sure.
Gotcha.
Yep.
How was AIT itself? Like, how was that? Because now you're getting closer and closer to getting that beret. How was AIT for you? Was it different from the initial, like, week one at basic, or was it just more of the same shit?
It was more of the same shit. I mean, you know, we were treated the same, really. I didn't really even notice. So back then, they called it OSIT. So it was one station unit training.
Yeah.
And you roll in, so you basic and then roll into, you know, AIT, but it wasn't any different, man. It was the same shit.
Gotcha.
Same drill sergeants. We're just getting our shit pushed in every day.
Yeah.
So.
Now, did you have any other X-rays in your class? Did you guys kind of like clicked up and started bonding, or how was that experience with those other dudes?
Yeah, so we had about, I want to say like 90 X-rays total.
That's a big fucking X-ray class.
It was a big fucking X-ray class. Yeah. To be honest with you, I hated most of them. I got along with a couple dudes that I still keep in touch with today.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I didn't like being around those guys because I felt like they were fucking brown nosers, constantly trying to. I won't say that, but yeah, just it was ridiculous. So yeah, I didn't hang out with a lot of them. It was me and a couple other dudes, and
gotcha.
That was it.
Gotcha. So you got done with basic, and now you had to push down to Airborne school, which is right down the road.
Yep.
How was that experience?
That was pretty awesome, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I jumped out of a plane, I'm not gonna lie, I was like pretty fucking scared.
Well, I think everyone is.
Like,
right?
my butthole was like pretty puckered, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great experience. The only time I got scared because I don't know, like, so back then there was this rumor flying around like, hey, like, a lot when you take the PT test, they're trying to fuck you.
Yeah.
So like, make sure.
This is an Airborne school?
Yeah. So make sure that like you're going chest to the ground and extending all the way up. And I think the standard back then was like maybe 42 push-ups or something.
Yeah.
And I always had a hard time with push-ups because I'm just a taller dude. I got long arms. I'm skinny. So I made sure that I fucking put my chest to the ground and extended all the way out. That was the only time I got kind of nervous in Airborne school, but that was really good training. I loved it. It was really fun, and I enjoyed jumping on airplanes. So,
me not so much. I still do it, but it's like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
So now you got done with Airborne, and now the real fun starts.
Yeah.
Now leading up to that point, man, did you regret joining at all? Like, were you?
Fuck no.
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I was all in.
Right. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So now you get done with Airborne, and now you're heading to Fort Bragg to actually start the actual selection process. How did that go for you from the time you got here? You went through SOP-C and eventually we'll hit selection a little bit later, but how was that transitioning period for you?
Again, that was another huge culture shock. So I remember when we got to Fort Bragg, I remember driving down All-American, in the big bus with your homies.
Yeah.
And we get in there to reception. We get checked in and everything. The next day, the cadre from SWICK come down and grab us. And those guys weren't fucking around.
Yeah.
So we ran all the way from reception over to the 4th Battalion building, which is probably like, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 miles.
Is there a fucking trail that I don't know about?
No,
it's literally.
We took the hardball.
The hardball. I guess you got the little sidewalk right there.
Yeah, yeah. We took the hardball the whole way. We ran through the neighborhood, and I remember like every couple 100 feet, they'd stop us and then do like duck walk, crab walk, burpees.
Yeah.
I mean, and it shouldn't take an hour to get to reception to the 4th Battalion building, but it did.
Yeah.
Because we were just getting smoked the whole time.
Yeah.
And dudes were like dropping like flies. Dudes were quitting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like the crazy side of me, but I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I was like, man, these guys are fucking awesome. They're just like making everybody quit.
Yeah.
Like, this is great.
So you actually lost a couple of dudes
just
from that one iteration.
Yeah.
So that's crazy, man, because that's nothing compared to what you actually went through.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys just, they already had it made up in their minds that they didn't really want to do it. And so
I tell you what, so I think it was around that time, or maybe it was a little bit later, but there was a lot of folks that were joining in like as 18 X-rays, but then quitting as soon as they get here at Bragg because all they really wanted was 82nd Airborne, 11 Bravo, fucking Airborne school.
That's how it was when I was cadre too.
And then eventually SWICK got fucking pissed, and they were like, "Okay, you want to play that game? No problem.
Yeah.
We're gonna reclass you to fucking Camp Scout or some shit and send you to like Fort Seal."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of X-rays were doing that. They just wanted the 82nd Airborne, and what's the quickest way to get to the 82nd Airborne?
Freaking
Join as an 18 X-ray, fail or quit once you get here.
Yep.
And it's easy for us to be like, we're gonna save the Army money instead of like reclassing you and sending you off to whatever place. 82nd's right here. They just but that's freaking wild, man.
It is.
Now, did you guys go through Was it SOP-C back then, or
Yeah,
was it
yep.
SF? I think it's SFPC now.
Yeah, it's SFPC
Yeah.
now. But yeah, back then it was SOP-C.
How was that?
Great experience.
Yeah.
All we did was eat, work out,
Yeah.
and land nav.
Yeah. Because the entire premise behind that, I guess, is to get you ready for
Yep.
selection.
Yep.
You know what I mean? How long was it back then? Was it 4 weeks or 8 weeks?
I think it was 3 weeks
Yeah.
total. I don't remember, if I can be
got
honest
you.
with you.
I got
But I
you.
think it was 3 weeks. But it was great training.
Yeah.
A lot of rucking, a lot of running,
Yeah.
a lot of sleep, a lot of food.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're pretty much training selection in
Yep.
you. It's
Yep.
physical fitness, land nav, like everything you need to know to actually attend and crush fucking selection.
Yep.
Yeah. When did you actually attend selection?
So I went in January of 2012.
2012.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yep.
How was selection itself? So we'll jump right into that. Well, that 90 X-ray class that you initially started with, was that number a lot smaller now as far as dude you came to Fort Bragg with?
Yeah, definitely smaller. I don't remember the exact number, but I would say by the time we started basic training and started selection, you're looking at like maybe 50, 60 dudes.
Oh shit! So a lot of them fucking dropped off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's actually pretty fucking wild.
most of them, it was all, just self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah.
Or guys just simply didn't want to be there. They quit.
Now, were you older? Because you were what, 20?
I was 21 when I joined the Army. So at that point in time, I would have been 22. Yeah.
I got you.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, now we'll dive into selection itself, man. Like I like to break it down in 3-week increments. So the first week, admin week; second week, land nav, and then the third week, team week. Because I always tell folks, like, selection you could train for, right? Especially the first and the second week. The third week is just what it is. Like, you can't just be a good dude, and with that you don't get hurt. How was admin week for you as far as all the physical gates that you had to go through?
I thought it honestly was pretty doable.
Yeah.
Because we did the PT test, and then we had the pull-ups, and then I think there was like a 5-mile run in between there. I don't remember if we wore boots for that or not.
Gotcha.
But yeah, admin week was super chill. They give you your roster number. They tell you your left and right limits.
Yeah.
Just kind of like some gated events with the run and the PT stuff, and I think they did land nav training in the classroom then too.
Gotcha.
If I remember correctly. I don't.
Yeah, because before you go out to a week 2 to conduct land nav, like they do a small class teaching you how to do land nav. You know what I mean? So leading up to that point, like how big was your selection class? Do you remember?
So I remember my roster number was 106.
Okay, it was definitely bigger than that.
But I think there was close to 300 people in that class.
300? Yeah. Probably half of them x-rays. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, so just from us, it was, probably around there.
Gotcha. Now,
Close
leading up to selection itself, because the physical aspect, like SOP-C is going to get you there.
Yeah.
Did you have to do anything for the mental aspect of getting ready for what you were getting ready to get yourself into?
Yeah. So for me, it was the land nav.
Gotcha.
I never
From the city, man.
So I grew up in Battle Creek, Michigan, and I kind of live in the city.
Yeah.
I mean, like me and my older brothers, we go out and play in the woods and stuff, but I never fucking been out in the woods with a compass and a map and expected to move from point A to point B. And so that whole thing was a mental mind fuck for me. I remember the night before we launched, I was just like having this fucking battle in my mind. It's like, dude, like, just, you got this, you fucking do it.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting 7 out of 8 points.
Nice.
So I mean, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
So,
that's damn good. So now week 1 is done. You get into week 2. Like you just mentioned, you crushed it 7 out of 8. Did you guys have to do the STAR there too, or as long as you did good in the PEs? Did they had they removed the STAR from selection by then, or
no? So they still had the PEs, but they didn't give a fuck how you did in the PEs. You still had to do the STAR.
Okay.
And I think the class before me, if you found the 4 points the first night, you didn't have to go out the second night. But then on my class, they changed it, so it didn't matter. Like the first night, I found my 4 points, and then I had to go back out the second day.
Gotcha.
So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So the STAR itself, how'd you do on that? Knowing that, hey, I need to pass this to actually keep going with selection. Did you still have that battle in your mind, or did the PEs kind of build you up to where you're like, okay, I got this?
So I actually kind of got lost in the PE, and luckily, I figured out where the fuck I was.
Yeah.
I was walking through the bowling alley, and I was like, whoa, look at my map, and I was like, oh, I'm right here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it was, I had a little bit of like a mental setback in the PEs, but I didn't have a fucking choice, man. Like either it was shut up or nut up, and I just went and I fucking performed, and I had confidence in myself, and that's the big thing, man. Is confidence, right? You just got to tell yourself you can fucking do it, and you can do it, man. So.
Well, it fucking worked out.
Yeah.
Now, week 3 itself, man, how was that? Because I know when I went through the fucking like the 18 X-ray mafia, that shit was a thing. Like there was 18 X-rays just fucking bonded together, and they were like, okay, we're gonna crush this, and everybody that's not our friends, we're gonna pair the shit out of them. How was your week 3 experience, man?
Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah,
and it still is a thing.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't really like the X-rays that I was with. I just thought they were a bunch of fucking douchebags.
Yeah.
Some are cool, we got along with, but I didn't really talk to them. So, so I made friends with the captain in there, and I was making friends with all the regular Army guys, and they all liked me. But yeah, team week was interesting. I don't remember everything we had to do. The one thing I do remember was down pilot. That fucking sucked.
I think everyone remembers that thing.
Yeah, that was pretty shitty. I remember you had to carry the ammo box.
Yeah.
And I remember my fucking forearms just, dude, I couldn't feel them, man. It was just like, ah.
Yeah.
But, team week sucked ass, man.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience because, you get to learn a lot about yourself and learn about what you're capable of doing, and you can just keep pushing through the pain. I was fortunate. I had a pretty good team. I think we had some issues on the apparatus, but other than that, like, we fucking crushed everything.
Yeah. I think shit, because I always tell dudes, hey, the key to passing team week is just be a good fucking dude. Man.
Yeah.
Be a good dude. We're all sucking. Like, let's eat this shit sandwich together, but just don't let that inner demon come out and start being a fucking dickbag.
Yeah. You just gotta learn to work with others and not be a douche, and you'll be fine.
Because everybody's sucking at that point.
Yeah.
But so as an X-ray, because I know you guys typically go in like fucking top-notch shape.
Yeah.
How are you physically by the time you got to team week? Did you still have a lot left in the tank, or were you just like your fucking big Army brothers, just beat the fuck down and just had to execute anyways?
I'll be honest. Like, when it came to my peers, I was always kind of in the middle of the pack as far as being in shape, but I also knew that I had a lot more heart than a lot of those motherfuckers. So I always beat the fuck down. But it wasn't that bad from what I remember. I think my feet were hurting pretty bad, but like, what's another couple days? So
that's a good way to look at it, because it's going to end. You just have to keep pushing forward.
Exactly.
Towards the end of week 3, like, do you remember how big the class was and how much actually got selected?
Great question. I would say, I don't even know what the average was back then, but I would say, like, we probably lost at least half the class.
Okay. So probably 150.
Yeah.
Got, finished Because when I went through, we had near fucking 400 and like 80 dudes got picked up total. But again, it's designed to get rid of the dudes that don't want to be there, and whatever's left over. It's like you still got to go through the Q course and perform there. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, did you choose your MOS and language, or did those get assigned to you?
So I wanted to be a Bravo, and when we got to like the MOS phase, they pulled us all in over there at the JFK chapel or whatever, and like, hey, like we need some echoes. And like volunteers.
We were short on echoes for a while.
They were like volunteers, and everyone was just kind of sitting there like, no. And then they just started picking people. So I ended up being an echo. I did get to choose my language. I think my first pick was Indonesian. I ended up getting Tagalog. Which ended up being a blessing because so I had Tagalog and 18 Echo. Those are
nice.
My two. So
now, did you roll right into the Q course, or did you have like a little down period where you got a chance to recover? Because as an X-ray, man, it's not like you're because big Army dudes, we get done with selection, we go back to our unit, we get a chance to recover, and then we clear, we get our family straight, then we PCS to Fort Bragg to start the Q course. Like, did you get a chance to recover at all, or was it, hey, selection is done on Monday or on Friday, Monday you're back in the chute, and a week later you're at fucking SUT or whatever?
So back then, they had language school at the beginning of the pipeline, but for the X-rays, before we could go to language, we had to do, I think it was CLT or BLC or something, which honestly wasn't even an academic school. We just went out to McCall and got our shit fucking pushed in again by cadre for 2-3 weeks. We didn't learn anything.
A lot of shit pushing in,
just getting smoked all the time. I remember we got smoked in our ACUs, and I just got them all nice and done, and we got fucked up in them. We got done with selection. I think we rolled out to CLT a week later. Got back from CLT, and then back then they had this other phase of the course. It was called IUW.
You go practice learning having a bunch of soft skills before you actually start SUT.
But it was another gated land nav event.
Another star.
And honestly, I thought that was worse than the fucking star course.
Shit ton of dude fell that shit.
And I remember we had this one cadre who was notoriously an asshole, and he was from third group. I don't know if I should say his name.
Fucking say it.
The Sergeant First Class Castaneda. That name will always ring in my mind forever. Like he was
Whiskey 8 guys fucking dive in free fall. I know what you're talking about.
That dude was fucking crazy, man. He'd just smoke us all the time and take us on these runs out in the woods and stop in the woods and smoke us and then come back. But anyways, he was cadre out there at IW, and I remember actually I like pulled my back. Pulled the muscle in my back, and he had us doing fucking flutter kicks, and I was just like, just like trying to do them, and he's like, you want to fucking quit? And I was like, no. So I finished that, and then we had to do like a couple weeks out at Robin Stage as like G's. Then we rolled right into language school. Language school was 6 months long.
So you guys did language first?
Language was first, and then after language was SUT. I started SUT in November 2012. Had that break in between Christmas and then
SEER and then MOS.
SEER and MOS,
Gotcha.
I will say, I think the hardest part of the Q course for me was SUT.
Because that gets a lot of X-rays, because you guys are used to all the tactics and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But I relied a lot on just being in shape and my personal skills. I can get along with most people, and I think most people like me. And then I tried to help wherever I could, and then learn as I go. But I remember one night in SUT, it was like freezing rain, and it sucked. because we were in our on the ambush line, and I remember I was a 240 gunner, and my AG and I were sitting there just spooning, and it was for hours just sitting there in the ambush line. And I remember we did our ambush, and we got up, and all this fucking glass breaks up off of us, and I was like, man, this shit sucks, dude. But yeah, SUT was pretty shitty back then. I don't really know how it is now, but sucked ass.
Yeah.
And then so I got the weekend off from SUT. I got back from SUT on Friday. I had Saturday and Sunday off, and then went right out to SEER school.
Nice.
So
that's always good times.
Yeah.
Now, leading up to this point, man, like, what advice would you have for anybody thinking about going into the 18 X-ray program? Like, would you recommend it? And if so, like, how do those guys become successful?
Yeah, so I definitely recommend it. If you want to join the military, I think it's a good thing. Actually, I lied. I don't recommend it. But that's only because of the current state of affairs in the military. Yeah. I think everything's fucked up. However, you can still maybe make a difference.
Yeah.
I think it's a rewarding job.
Yeah.
But it's not what it used to be. If you're like a selfish asshole and you only think about yourself, I don't fucking recommend it.
Yeah.
If you don't have thick skin, I don't recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to challenge yourself and make yourself better and be a part of something better than yourself, 100%.
Yeah.
Do it. Send it.
Yeah. Now, based on what you've seen, what has made some X-rays successful, and what has made others like failures?
I think the big part is the attitude.
The attitude. Okay. Would you say maturity is also a thing?
Maturity is a huge thing. I think a lot of them have that the too cool for school attitude. Mm-hmm. They think they know everything and they don't. That's from what and just doing dumb shit, man.
Yeah.
Just going out and going to the fucking titty bar on the weekend, getting shit faced, driving back on post drunk.
Yeah.
Drugs. It was always cocaine was a big one for those dudes, getting dudes busted.
Yeah. I remember being an 18 Charlie instructor. This was later on, 2000. I got to SWICK in 2015, and like every weekend, man, dudes were getting fucking busted. I mean, they knew the UA was coming, but they still went out to wherever, and did fucking coke.
Yep.
And then once they get busted, they would come to the committee, and they would ask for character references.
Yep.
It's like, dude, you just got busted with fucking coke. Like, how am I supposed to justify you as being? Yeah. On top of that, you didn't share with any of us. Get your ass out of here. You know what I mean? So, dude, it was like, sorry, dude, I can't do anything for you. It's fucking weird, man. Well, yeah, that was a big thing back in the days, man. So now you're done with the Q course. You get your beret. Did you? Well, I guess based on language, you got first group.
Yeah.
How was that, man? Were you from the point where you started as a 19-year-old dude signing your contract? Now, 3 years later, Green Beret, got your tab. Can you see that change, or did your folks, like your parents, did they see a difference in you as far as what went in initially and now what they see standing in front of them?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Was it more like, hey, super confident, or was it more like, hey, I can take on the world and do whatever I want? Like,
yeah, they could see the confidence.
Yeah.
I was just a completely, my core as a person was still the same, but everything else was completely different.
Gotcha.
And I think that also helped my parents to be able to open up a little bit more and realize that there's a lot more out there than just what they were brought up to know or do, so so real quick, I kind of want to just go back to the Q course real quick. I just want to touch something on here real quick. I think a lot of people, because Q course is long, it's almost a year and a half, 2 years. A lot of people lose focus on why they join and their goals, and you have to stay 100% dedicated to it. don't go out and party. Don't go out and drink. If your buddies want to go out and drink on fucking Bragg Boulevard, tell them to go fuck themselves. Yeah. Like, stay in your barracks room, study, and find hobbies. Like, work out, do hobbies. If you like video games, I fucking love video games. I play video games. I worked out and I studied. That's all I did when I was in the field. But yeah, so I just want to touch that real quick because I think that's important.
There's so many distractions. Yeah, and dude, especially for X-rays, man, it's a long fucking process.
Women
and you guys are young. You're still trying to live your best life. Yep. Now you're a SWICK student.
Yep.
You got the 82nd. You know what I mean? Yep. Just a bunch of awesome dudes, but they're not in special operations. So now you'll think you're, Billy Badass. Yep. You know what I mean? Now you guys are allowed to go into Charlie Mike's, which used to be just SF dudes. Now you got the X-ray crowd in there now. Now you think you're, this badass dude.
They shouldn't be allowed to go in there.
Yeah, they shouldn't, but they are. Yeah. But you just have to remember that you're still in training.
Yeah.
And that a lot can go wrong. And a lot does go wrong. But if being SF is the end state, you just have to keep yourself grounded, man. Because dude, just being young and dumb and full of cum, like, you're gonna do all sorts of dumb shit, man. And I've seen it happen. But yeah, that's pretty good advice for the X-ray dudes that are watching this right now. Just have the end state in mind. One of the guys on the Discord, he posted on there the other day that there's a kid. He got kicked out of Airborne school, right? Never to return because he got into a fight at Airborne school and hit another student, right? So right there, his freaking dreams of being a SF dude is gone. Because one of the prerequisites is you got to be Airborne qualified. Yeah. And now this dude can't go back to Airborne school. So it's like, hey, you can't be a Green Beret if you don't have your Airborne wings, right? Just like that, it could fucking end. So yeah, that's actually pretty good advice, man. Stay grounded, know where you're trying to get, and don't get yourself involved in all the bullshit.
Yep.
How was your stay over at First Group, man? How was that initial 6 months of being a new guy for you?
Honestly, it fucking sucked. I got shit on a lot, and I made a lot of mistakes, because again, as an 18 X-ray, you don't know shit about the Army.
Yeah.
All you know is PT.
Yeah.
And that's the only value you bring to the fucking table is being in shape.
Yeah.
Because you don't know fucking anything, and you're not expected to really know much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got fucking shit on, dude.
Yeah.
Hard.
Dude, I love X-rays, man. When I was on the team, I was like, oh, we're getting an X-ray. But it's weird, right? Because as a senior guy, like, I see it as, hey, we get an opportunity to build this fucking monster, like this person, to make them into, especially when you're young, like, we get a chance to raise them, you know what I mean, teach them the ways of SF. Like, it's almost like a pride thing in a way, right? Because you get this blank canvas, and now the seniors and we get to make this dude, whatever we think that he should be, if he survives the 6 months of fucking hell that we put him through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like, I look at it from like a different perspective. Like, when I was a senior on a team and we got word, because for the longest there on my team, like, we always had senior dudes coming through. It's always been senior guys from SWICK or a dude from down the hall. We never had any X-rays. And the one time we got an X-ray, we was like, oh, dude, everybody was pumped. And I'm like, oh, I feel bad for this kid because now we've been waiting for it. We're like, oh, we're getting an X-ray. Let's try to get it. Anyways, please, your 18 X-ray or your F and G time over at First Group.
So my first team, it was rough.
Yeah.
A lot of it was self-inflicted.
Yeah.
Just doing dumb shit. Not thinking things through.
Yeah.
And then the other part was just being a new guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of already told you like a little bit of my back history. My daughter, she had a trach, so she was EFMP.
Yeah.
My wife and kids, they couldn't come out there to Okie with me, so I ended up getting a compassionate reassignment. Went to First Group Maine out in Fort Lewis, 3rd Battalion in Alpha Company. that was also an interesting experience when I first got there, because I went to a dive team.
Oh man.
And I was good in the water, but just anything subsurface, garbage. So I spent the first, I don't know, year just getting drowned all the time.
Yeah.
I believe, I think I went to MAC and I failed MAC. And then I left the dive team. I went to the B team for a little bit.
Yeah.
And my daughter started having more health problems. So eventually I went over to battalion, and I was sorry, not battalion, but I went down to group, and I was the land manager for a year, which, if anybody knows anything about that, most dudes that go down to group headquarters to do staff job, they're either retiring or fucked up.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there, my daughter had some health issues.
Yeah.
So I ended up coming back to the same company in 2017, and I was on 1313, best fucking team ever, best experience, night and day difference from my first 4 years in group. It was great.
Dude, it's funny how that works, man, because, well, for starters, let this be a lesson to everybody out there. Yes, the job is awesome. You want to do it to the best of your ability, but there's certain things that you have to prioritize, right? Your family, your kids, like that's priority, because if they're not where they need to be, like you won't be able to focus on doing your job.
Exactly.
Right? So if you need to take a knee, go somewhere else to make sure your family is good to go, and that's what you do. Like, and if anybody that sees that as a bad thing is a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they shouldn't be your friend or your teammates.
100%. Yep.
You know what I mean? Like if you're, like shitting on a dude because he's got family issues and he's choosing to go take care of that, and you're shitting on him and you see him in a different light, then you're the fucking problem.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just get that out there. Because I've had the same thing. Like I was going through a divorce and dudes were fucking being digbags. I'm like, till this day, I'm like, dude, come up. And then later on in life, those assholes started having problems at home. So I'm like, oh, karma's a bitch, ain't it? You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, my family is more important than me than this beret, than this tab, than this job.
100%.
Because when it ends in fucking 20 years or 12 or 13 years, in your case, guess who's going to be around?
Not the Army.
Your fucking family. Not those digbags that was fucking shitting on you and giving you crap. They're going to be somewhere fucking doing dumb shit, right? But your family will still be there.
Yep.
So don't let that be, like, if that was bothering you, like, don't let it, man.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, it takes a bigger man to step up and do that, as opposed to ignoring your family like some of these other assholes do. And 20 years later, they're fucking retired and all they have is a bottle, and they don't have their wife or their kids around because they chose to, shit on them, when they should have taken a knee to go be with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's good on you for choosing to do that. And it's funny how it works, man, because some teams won't work out, and then you'll find the team that does work out, and you're like, holy shit, like I was about to give this shit up, you know what I mean, thinking that all the ODAs were like this, and you found your team, and you're like, this is where the fuck it's at, like I'm happy to be here. So I'm glad you ended up finding a team that fits you, and it sounded like you had a great time on that team.
It all ended up working out in the end. I think that realizing I had a problem on the home front, and addressing that issue, then I could come back 100%, focus on the job.
Exactly.
I will be honest, like, I'm kind of a weird dude, and I know my personality.
Well, you're a first grouper, man. That's like that comes with the title.
But I think that my personality didn't really jive on the first two teams I was on. Just didn't work out. But this team, my last team, the best way I can explain is they're just a bunch of fucking pirates, bro. And
that's awesome, man.
So
that's awesome. So now you finished your state over at first group. And then you came down for SWICK. Now, did you volunteer for that, or did you just kind of get put on there? How was your SWICK tour afterwards?
So I volunteered for it. I ended up working with a guy in my company. We're pretty good friends. He got there before me, so he pulled me over to the AT section, which is awaiting training.
Yeah.
For the 18 X-rays. Honestly, it was pretty chill.
Yeah.
A lot of fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
But the job itself was pretty chill. I enjoyed being able to mentor young guys and kind of like share my life experiences with them. Just, you know, how to look at things differently and how you can apply your skills.
And that's a good place to mentor these kids.
Yeah.
Because they're literally in the Q course, they have access to you as an SF guy, someone that they're wanting to become like, you know, and now they get to pick your brain and you get to pour into them your experience, right? You get to tell them, hey, if you get to group and your first couple of teams don't work out, you know, like do this, do that, right? Like it's actually a pretty good place to work, and if you like mentoring, I'm sure it was rewarding for you. Yep. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I feel like I had a pretty unique experience. So I could give guys, you know, hey, like you can attack this from a different angle. You can try it, you can try doing this, but yeah, it was a good experience. I just didn't like the politics.
Yeah, I think that. So me and you both, man. I think everything is starting to get a little bit. Tad bit more political, but not my problem because I'm retired now. Yeah. So are you. So all we can do now is, you know, come on venues like this and share our stories and, you know, hopefully motivate somebody out there to fucking be the change that they want to see, right? Yeah. So now leading up to this point, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Leading up to this point, you know, your stay at third group being at SWICK, if you were able to, is there anything that you would have changed or done differently?
I wouldn't change a fucking thing.
Yeah.
I think everything happens for a reason. You make mistakes. As long as nobody dies, like just fucking learn from it and move on. Yeah. I wouldn't change a fucking thing.
That's awesome.
And I'm very grateful for every experience that I've had in the military. It's made me who I am today. So I wouldn't be shit if it wasn't for the Army.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Because I know what the military's done for me, so every chance that I get, like, I talk to folks about it, and I encourage them to join, because I think it's, especially if you're a younger guy and you don't have a lot of structure, you don't really know who the fuck you are, which none of us do at the age of 20, you know what I mean? All the way up to 24, 25, you don't really know who you are, you know what I mean? So I think, at least for me, the military gave me that identity, and it allowed me to make my mistakes and still get a paycheck and still have a place to live. Yeah. And it allowed me to figure out who I was, right? The military did that for me. So I think it's a good thing, man. Yeah. I know a lot of countries like make it mandatory for their youth. And I'm like, dude, if we did something like that, the country would probably be in a lot better fucking standing than it is now, especially with the youth. But that's just my fucking 2 cents. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now, moving forward, man, like what led you to medically retire? Were you forced, or was that something that you chose to do based on your back and the condition that it was in?
So it's something that I chose to do because I've been hiding my injuries for a long time. Yeah. Everybody on my team knew that my back was fucked. Yeah. And they were like, dude, like, how are you still like doing this, man? And I was like, I don't know, I want to be with you guys, you know? Yeah. So that's kind of like what drove me to just push through the pain, which honestly is fucking dumb. Don't ever do that. Yeah.
But we do that a lot, though. Yeah. You know, because you don't want to leave the team. You don't want to let the dudes down. You're enjoying yourself. You want to do the job. You're like, dude, just give me a couple of shots. I'm good to go. You know what I mean?
There's a time and a place for it, obviously. But in my case, I probably should have hung it up a little bit earlier. Yeah. When I got to SWICK, we started doing a lot of running down Ardennes with the students, and then that's when I was just like, man, I can't fucking do this anymore. Yeah. And my back is shot. Yeah. So I went in for medical attention, first time ever in my career, and the doctor's like, I think what he said was pretty funny. He's like, yo, because like we got an MRI, and he's like, dude, it looks like someone opened up your back and ran the train on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to hear.
All right, cool. And then yeah, I just kind of went from there. All in all, the whole process took about a year.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing, man, because you're not the first one that's done that. I certainly did it, and we do this all the time. Like, we mask the injuries to keep doing the job, you know what I mean, because we love it so much. And the stigma of taking a knee, going to sick call, like that shit's real, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're able to fucking make it out on the back end. Now, once you got out, medically retired, how was that, man? Because I know when I retired, there was a void, like a lack of purpose, a lack of belonging, right? Because you've literally been in jail for like 12 years, hanging out with the same dudes, you know what I mean, doing the same shit, and now it's like, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, how was that process for you, and how did you find purpose again?
Well, I'm still working on that, trying to find purpose part. Because, it's been a couple months for me, but it's definitely like a mind fuck.
Yeah. Because
you're used to being told where to go, where to be. Everything's fucking regimented. Mm-hmm. And you're a motherfucking Green Beret.
Yeah.
And you go from being a fucking Green Beret to like, what the fuck do I do next? So my advice is have some hobbies. Mm-hmm. Don't stop working out.
Yeah.
I do a shit ton of yoga because I can't do the shit that I used to do. Yoga helps me a lot. Riding a bike. Do whatever you got to do to fucking stay in shape, because you know how it is, man. You work out, you feel fucking 50 times better after that workout. So whatever it is you do, for me, it's yoga. Mm-hmm. It's not the same, doesn't hit the same, but whatever. And have hobbies, like have goals, because the worst thing you can possibly have is a guy in a room by himself with his own fucking thoughts.
Yeah.
And I felt like I started to go down a little bit of that road, but luckily I was aware enough to know that I was going down that road. Mm-hmm. Just know that it's not the end.
Yeah.
There's more to life than just being a Green Beret.
Yeah.
Whether you find something that's as satisfying, I don't fucking know. If you do, good for you. If not, whatever. But just stay busy.
Yeah. Because I always tell guys, man, like, being a Green Beret, yes, that was your identity for however long, right? But you also got to keep in mind, like, you're also a father.
Yeah.
You're also a husband. You're a son. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, those things, you were those things before you became a Green Beret. And you're still those things, right?
Yeah.
So you remove don't get me wrong, you'll forever be a Green Beret, right? Mm-hmm. Like, no one could take your tab or your beret unless you're fucked up and they take it from you. But even then, you still live those experiences. So that's still a part of you. You're just not doing the job anymore, right? You can still tell the stories. You can still, go out in public. Shit, you can still wear a beret if you want, right? Like, you're still that. But you also got to remember, you still have kids, you still have a wife, you still have parents, right? Like, you still want to, if you don't have that purpose, just lean on those and be a good husband, a good father. You know what I mean? And eventually that purpose is going to come. You just have to look for it. You know what I mean? And eventually it shows up. Because it did for me, and this is my purpose now. You know what I mean? To sit down with folks like you to share your story. Because someone out there is going through the same shit, believe it or not. You know what I mean? Someone out there is walking your same path. And hearing your story is going to help them in one way, shape, or form. It's going to shed light on something that they're going through, and they're going to be like, holy shit, I'm not alone. I heard a story now. This is going to trigger me to do X, Y, and Z. It's going to help me go down that path a tad bit better. You know what I mean? Because trust me, somebody's in a fucked up team right now, and they're like, holy fuck, this shit is not working out. You know what I mean? And they're about to leave that team and go somewhere else, and they're going to hear this, and they're going to be like, okay, this is normal. This happens. You know what I mean? And that's going to put them in a lot better place than they currently are.
That's one thing I will say is I know so many dudes that got to group and got on some shit team, shitty team sergeant, a bunch of fucking douchebags, and they end up just getting out. Again, I didn't have the greatest experience when I first got to group. I was wanting to get out, but I stayed in, and I'm very, very fucking glad that I did. Because I was about to bounce, man. I was like, this shit ain't what I thought it was gonna be. but you meet the right people and get put in the right situation. I mean, each team is almost like its own little fucking culture, island. It's fucking weird, man. Yeah. And you find that right team, shit just clicks, man. Yeah. And then everything works out. Yeah, because I think it was yesterday I did a video on how to build like a perfect SFODA, right? I had a list of things that you can do, and one of the things was hiring the right individuals, right? Because every team has its culture. Every team has, like, if you have a team that's full, like, with a bunch of fucking steroid taking dudes that don't really communicate with each other, they just go out, do the job, come back, they go to their rooms, like, it's not really a family, it's not really a close-knit team. And you're, outgoing dude, you like to talk and you like to have fun, you want to be around dudes that are, and you go to that team and no one's talking to you, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Like, one or two things are gonna happen. You're gonna become one of those assholes, or you're not gonna fit. Yeah. Right? I've had that experience myself, to where first team didn't work out, and then I left. Then I went to my second team, and I was with that team for like 7 years, man. Everything just fucking clicked. Yeah. So it does happen. It's not a one size fit all. Just because you're a Green Beret doesn't mean you can be put on any team and it just works out. Yeah. That's not the case at all, right? If you go to your first team and it doesn't fucking work out, then hey man, there's other teams out there. So like every company, well, every group has fucking 4 battalions with 6 fucking team in each battalion, or with 3 companies and 6 team in each fucking company. You know what I mean? Like, there's a fit for you, right? If the first one doesn't work out, it is what it is, man. Just keep it fucking moving. So just move on to something else, and hopefully it'll be the right fucking track for you. Yeah. So it's fucking weird, man. But well, yeah, man. I appreciate you coming through, man, and sharing your fucking story. I appreciate it. Before we close it out, anything else you want to say, man? Shout out to the wife and the kids, the fucking Patriots. I don't know. Yeah, shout out to my old teammates. You guys all know who you are. You guys are the best. The last thing I will say, when you graduate, if you graduate, remember to always stay humble, stay hungry. Don't be a fucking douchebag, and do not get comfortable. Yeah. And always look out for your teammates. Like, your teammates are the most fucking important thing in the world. Get those guys' backs, and like, don't fuck them over, man. Yeah. Because, that's awesome fucking advice. Just be a good fucking teammate, man. Yeah. Those guys are your brothers, so. Yeah. And just know that it's only beginning. It's only starting. Your entry level. Once you get the group and you get to that team, that's when shit starts to get real. But awesome, man. I appreciate you coming through, man. Again, if you want to come back at any time, do some on the regular, just fucking let me know. Thank you. Until next time, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one.